Ms. Ellmers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my questions are for Ms. Driscoll and Mr. Smith as well. As business owners, it's so important that we understand how the rising price of energy is affecting our businesses and how that in turn affects you, the community, and the cash flow of your businesses. So what I'd like to do, Ms. Driscoll, if I could start with you, and then I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and if both of you could answer. There again, as fuel prices have been rising, and of course, some have come down a little bit, and of course I'm talking about gas prices, as they have fluctuated, what does this do to the ability of your business and your cash flow? How do you manage that?
The first thing I did was lay off people, which absolutely broke my heart to do that. I went from full-time employees and I put them in a part-time situation, and I am now doing everything. So it's really unfortunate. After I had laid off people and then put them into part-time and no more, then I would at least bring them along to trade shows and work with me in that capacity, or when I was showing horses, I would bring them along in that capacity to work for me for the day. But with the fuel prices, what I pay to get to the show is probably double what I was paying them to come along as grooms. So it certainly affected the job market in my region.
Mr. Smith?
Sure. I would agree. Each month my fuel bill comes in. I never want to open it. I hate to see what that number is, as it does continue to grow, every month. Even though we've had a recent decline, it's still significantly up from, January 2011. So I look at things like I have reduced hours on employees. I have replaced employees with part-time people. So I really have to watch the overhead portion of my business and cut back wherever I can. So at times it means that I don't take a paycheck. So usually that's the first cut that happens, is my ability to make any money. And then at that point I have to look beyond that and see what to do. And right now, while I would love to see growth, we don't see it in the plumbing industry. I have, being a part of Mr. Reuter Plumbing, we are a national, franchise, an international franchise. And so I hear of the other business owners that I speak to that are laying off people, as we speak. The past few months, they've been laying people off. And energy is a huge expense for us, on the fuel costs.
Along that line, basically, my question is, how has it affected your bottom line? And I guess probably the easiest way to say that is, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? So, Ms. Driscoll?
Being one to conserve words, the answer to that is no. I'm absolutely not. I don't take a paycheck anymore either. You find ways, and I truly believe that small business owners are our own worst enemy. We find a way to get it done anyway. And as a result, it gives the impression that it's really not that bad for us. And it is. And I don't think I've taken a paycheck in about 2.5 years. So it's very frustrating, and it's difficult for me to add new products to the line. It's difficult for me to campaign a horse that really should be out on the road being seen. I've cut back on some of those things, knowing that the end result is I'm not going to get as good a sales. But you have to cut. It's a very frustrating situation. I have to do things that I know are not good for my business.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Yeah, and I would say in a small business, it's like a small family. So every time we have to lay someone off, it's not a large corporation that sends in an HR person. You're laying off your friend, that you've worked with for years, and their family. And so it takes a much more enormous toll on us outside of just the financial. We're also dealing with people, and our friends, and making impacts to their lives because of what decisions we need to make to keep our business open.
Thank you. I sadly, this is the story we keep hearing over and over again. Back in my district last week, I met with some business owners, and one of the stories was just heartbreaking. Literally, in order to keep their business open, their small business, one of my friends has to have actually taken another job to keep the doors open on the business. They've gone through all of their savings, their retirement, selling their home and moving into a townhouse. And this is what they've had to do to keep those doors open, and it's what we do as Americans. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.